Your thoughts?
What? What? Who?
Nice.
We have made it to Friday. Here we go, 9:01. It's our daily show on this 23rd day of August, and good to have all you guys with us. CJ Nasello, it's our daily show right here on RiverBender.com, Roku TV. A little bit of a laid-back show today. We're going to be talking to Sydney Sinks at 10:30 for Blog Talk, and we're also going to be talking to Danny Margison, who is a local author with a book that just came out, and we'll get some feedback, and we'll get ways that we can get our hands on a copy and learn about his story. Another really cool interview today for all of you that are interested. At 9:40, I had the opportunity yesterday in the midst of it all to sit down with a world-renowned economist, Les Rubin. You've seen him on a lot of major stations. He's been he's written for pretty much everybody. And Les joined me, and we talked about the state of the economy and on both sides of the aisle, going through different issues. And you'll be surprised with some of the things that Les has to say. That happens at 9:40, one of my, I think, bigger interviews of the year. And I'm so happy that Les gave me some of his time. So that all comes down the pipeline in the next 2 hours. But right now, while I have you at 9:02, join me and 70,000 people that are in the know each and every day of the work week. And on Saturdays with Around the River Bend, you can also text RB to 618-202-4618. That's RB to 618-202-4618 to sign up, and we'll alert you on breaking news, weather alerts, closings, cancellations, sports scores, and a hell of a lot more with that SMS notification. For all you millennials out there like me, that means text messaging. Top of the hour news now, and let's just dive right into a tough day in the Riverbend yesterday, and we'll just go right in. A large contingent of law enforcement officers did gather at Hawthorne Animal Hospital on Thursday morning to honor Officer Odin, a beloved Alton police K-9 who died after being shot at the scene at 7th and Liberty in Alton. Representatives from the Alton Police, the DEA, Madison County Sheriff's Office, Illinois State Police, the Edwardsville Police, Granite City Police, Glen Carbon Police, and Columbia Police, along with numerous unmarked law enforcement vehicles, participated in the tribute. Odin's casket, draped with an American flag, was brought out as the Edwardsville Fire Department displayed an American flag on its ladder truck at Plum Street. Taps were played as the K-9 was moved into a van, and officers saluted the fallen K-9 during the transfer. The procession escorted Odin to an undisclosed location, marking a solemn farewell to the K-9 who served us all. Also, following that, Alton Mayor David Goins did hold a press conference following this officer-involved shooting yesterday on August the 22nd, which did result in the deaths of the suspect and K-9 officer Odin. The injury of Officer Alan Averbeck as well. The incident occurred in the early morning hours of 6th Street in Alton, where officers exchanged gunfire with the suspect. Officer Averbeck, who was struck and later released from the hospital, is now recovering from what we've been told at his home. His K-9 partner, Odin, as we just described in detail, succumbed to his injuries. Mayor Goins emphasized community unity and resilience, mourning the loss of Odin as a loyal companion and a trusted team member. The investigation currently being handled by Illinois State Police, and no further suspects are being sought. Madison County State's Attorney Tom Hain did issue a statement regarding this officer-involved shooting that did occur yesterday. Hain expressed immense gratitude that the officer avoided serious injury while mourning the loss of his canine partner. Hain highlighted the inherent dangers that law enforcement officers face and thanked them for their heroic service. Hain also noted relief that the police officer was not gravely injured, and he assured his office that they will remain in close contact with investigating agencies as the review continues. Finally, Duke Bakery in Alton found itself near a tragic shooting on the 700th block of East 6th Street yesterday, and the incident that did result in the death of Odin. In a show of community solidarity, Duke Bakery displayed a sign reading, "Thank you for your service, Canine Odin." Ben Hollis, one of the bakery owners, described the chaotic morning and the immediate need to ensure everyone's safety. Illinois State Senator Erica Harris was on our show as this all was transpiring and expressed her thoughts and prayers, and local fire departments have expressed their condolences and emphasizing our community and region's deep sense of loss and gratitude for the officer's service and the recovery of Officer Averbeck. And we'll keep you more updated as the investigation does roll out. The Alton Fire Department did respond to a structure fire in the 2700th block of Sanford Avenue just before 10 last night. Here's what we know. Upon arrival, firefighters encountered a heavy flame coming from the home. They swiftly brought the blaze under control, and during a search of the premises, found a dog inside. Firefighters promptly removed the canine and administered oxygen. Following the treatment, the dog began walking around and appeared to be in good condition. The East Alton Fire Department assisted at the scene. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. The cause of the fire currently remains under investigation. Also in the news, busy day for the news team yesterday. A single vehicle crash at the end of Clark Bridge in Alton resulted in significant damage to a guardrail and traffic lights power box Thursday night. Here's the latest. Officers responding to the scene found the car lodged under the guardrail. The collision caused the traffic lights at Landmark and Highway 67 to go out, leading to potential disruptions. The police have not yet released additional information regarding injuries. Further details are expected as the investigation continues. 9:07, but let's take a look at some local fun. Marquette Catholic's 2024 Mega Raffle Kickoff Party is from 6 to 9 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday, August the 24th at the greatest place in Alton, Johnson's Corner. The second early bird drawing will take place at 9 p.m. The early bird drawing dates are as follows: August the 16th. Well, we've already passed that one. August 24th, August 30th, September 6th, September 13th, and September 20th. Marquette's annual Mega Raffle kicked off the start of the school year on the 16th of August, and it drew a large crowd. The events are coordinated by Mary Howe, the Director of Development for Marquette and the raffle organizer. The Mega Raffle, well, it serves as a significant fundraiser for the school, supporting various needs such as scholarships, financial aid, capital improvements, and much more. Marquette Principal Tim Harmon emphasized the importance of the Mega Raffle to the school. Here's what he had to say. "It's a large part of our big fundraiser that helps support the school, students, faculty, and staff. It's used for a mix of everything. It goes towards helping us support scholarships and financial aid assistance, and gets used as part of our capital improvements." He also said the event serves as a community building occasion, particularly for incoming freshmen and their families. Harmon praised Howe for her exceptional organizational skills, and with this quote, "Mary does a great job with the whole program." Tickets for the raffle, $50 a piece, and you can buy two, get one free. That means you have 3 chances to win the grand prize of $50,000. And this prize will be drawn on September 21st at the Marquette Homecoming Block Party. Current MCHS students who sell tickets are also entered into a drawing for free tuition. So if you know a local family that's selling tickets, help them out and help them win big too while you're winning that $50,000. For more information about the Mega Raffle and to purchase tickets, visit the official website today. 9:09, that's the time. Well, now it's 9:10, and let's take a look at our weather forecast. You can see it on your screen. 68 degrees, feels like 72, but now get ready for some heat here, folks. Sunshine and patchy clouds this morning, but heat and humidity are going to build over the weekend and into early next week. Tonight, partly cloudy, and humid. Here's what we have for air quality today. It's ranked at 51. Maybe that's why I've been just out of the loop the last couple of days. That's moderate. Grass levels are moderate. Mold is low. Ragweed is high at 275. Trees low. And the UV index, well, very high. Temperatures reach 87 degrees today. They drop down to 70 overnight. On Saturday, a high of 90, a low of 69 degrees. On Sunday, a high of 91, a low of 71. And on Monday, a high of 95, a low of 73 degrees. On Tuesday, a high of 98, a low of 71. But we got a few days before we get there. We can still enjoy some decent weather this weekend. For time and temperature throughout the day, 618-465-4545. This time powered by Bounce Back Rehab Recover and Return Home. Hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Let me tell you, you're going to the Food Truck Festival. Duh. Thousands of people converge on the Alton Riverfront Amphitheater for a variety of food trucks, live music. Oh, the best part? It's free. It's free. It's free. The Alton Food Truck Festival, powered by Sauce Magazine, is one of the best events in the region where you can go and get the sights and sounds and the greatest food that's around. You know what I think's fun about the day? You have 4 hours just to walk around, get the sights, sounds of the amphitheater, and go at your own pace. That's what I like. I'll be on hand from about 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. August the 24th for a live show. Then right after that, we're going to the marina for their 28th anniversary. A lot of fun, and I know I want to see you there. You can go to AltonRiverFrontAmphitheater.com for more information to see what food trucks are coming, but you don't need tickets. Just show up tomorrow from 4 to 8 p.m., powered by the Alton Amphitheater Commission and Sauce Magazine. It's the Alton Food Truck Festival 2024 from 4 to 8 p.m. tomorrow on our beautiful riverfront. We're going to take a break, but let's take a look at Skycam when we come back. More of our daily show hits you after this.
All I really gotta do is live and die, but I'm in a hurry and don't know why. Don't know why. I have to drive so fast. My car has nothing to prove. It's not you, but it'll do 0 to 60 in 5.2.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off Dog Walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Divs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts number 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit VillageDispo.com and shop now.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Get paid to go solar.
We're not solar bros. At Grid, we're solar pros. We explain the process behind solar power so you can make an informed decision. We'll work with you to make owning your power as simple as possible and affordable with zero down financing and payment options. Our only goal is to save you money. Call Grid when you're ready to be independent of the power company.
I had an amazing experience with Dr. Haug and her team. I came here when I was 10 years old to get my braces on. Now I'm 28 years old, braces off, and I get so many compliments on my smile. It's helped me thrive in my career as a news reporter, and also as Miss Missouri USA, I took the stage with confidence, knowing my smile was gonna make me look like $1 million. I've never felt better and more confident because of my smile.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
I'd pick you
We're not even close to getting to the nighttime yet, but we got 2 hours of fun to help us get through the day. Danny Margison joins us now, local author, The Monsters We Make in studio, man. Full of energy, huh? How you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me aboard.
Thanks for getting here, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Just go right into this. The Monsters We Make is your second book, correct?
That's correct, yep.
And take me through, what the decision was to get into writing in the first place.
Yeah, it was just something I've always had an itch to do, but I never really was trained to do it. So I went to school for a business degree, and that's pretty much what I've been doing with my day job since then. But I've always had this urge to, all right, maybe I think I got some stories in me. Let me just see if I can get it out there. And it took a few years to kind of dabbling with it. Actually, password protected a Word document, kept it with a hidden name for a while, just to allow myself to be bad at it for a while.
Yeah.
And then try to see, all right, is this something that can take off? And so I wrote my first book about 5 or 6 years ago, The Life of Death. And then in between then wrote The Monsters We Make.
Well, and that's a really good point that you make too, man, because anytime we do something on our own, I feel like, and I'm the same way, I don't want feedback right away because I know what the feedback's going to be. I have a sense. And now when you were going through the motions, of getting everything out there, you still have it password protected when you're getting into this. When did you know it's okay to start really telling people about this and start getting the word out a little bit about what you're working on?
Yeah, once I got to about 40 pages in the first book, and then I could kind of see where it was going, that's when I let my wife in. I was like, hey, I'm writing a book. That's what I've been doing in the morning. So
it's like the meme, I wonder what he's, when the couple's turned over in bed, I wonder what he's thinking of. It's The Monster. It's your first book, The Life of Death. You know?
Yeah. So you go into some weird Google searches to come up with the research for that topic too, with talking about the Grim Reaper. And that one, the premise is the Grim Reaper is an everyday person, so he has to have a day job, has to interact with society, but has this dark secret that he's the Grim Reaper. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So take me through The Monsters We Make. This is completely different of your first book, right?
Yep, completely different.
What was the synopsis here? What led you to really diving into this one?
So as we think about like all that's changing pretty quickly here in the last couple years with artificial intelligence, you can kind of see the ramp up of where it's doing more and more for us, and then humans start having to do less and less for their everyday lives. And so I wanted to fast forward, what does this look like maybe about 20 years from now? And so that's where the story takes place, just near future, 20 years from now. And in that future, we're dealing with a climate that's more volatile, so it gets colder, it gets hotter, and we adapt. We come up with technology to help us with that. So we have temperature-controlled suits in this scenario, so it can cool us down, heat us up. But what happens, though, is the intelligence starts to attack, not in a Terminator type of way.
Right,
though.
okay.
So you think about what's happening then, all the cars are controlled by artificial intelligence, so is the farm equipment. And so if artificial intelligence wants to take out humans, maybe it takes out the farms. And so it starts off with, very early in the book, about 10% of the food supply is taken out by a malfunction of farm equipment. And then the artificial intelligence kind of sits back and is like, all right, let's see how the humans react to this. And so The Monsters We Make is kind of, you're going through the story. Is it the artificial intelligence that's the monster?
Yeah.
Or is it the humans that become the monsters when they're put in a spot, put in a bind? Because you very quickly see where, all right, we're short on food. Let's band together and rally around, make sure everyone has enough. Or do I grab as much as I can for myself? And so then that's really what kind of goes into the dynamics of how society reacts to how artificial intelligence kind of pushes us to react.
Well, and, this is really interesting, and there can be a lot of takeaways just from what you just said, man, because honestly, to me, The Monsters We Make is all about us because we created it. We want life to be so easy, and then all of a sudden we realize, it's too easy, and now we don't know how to act. Right?
Yep.
Okay, because I say a lot of foolish stuff, so tell me here, man.
No, you're onto something.
I just think this is a wonderful concept.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, the farm equipment's the really interesting topic because to me, we never talk about that side of things. We always talk about like the world ending or the Terminator type of, apocalypse, but we don't talk about the infrastructure that surrounds us crumbling away in an instant.
Yeah. Yeah, and you think about it, too, in this scenario, 20 years from now, maybe the power grid's controlled by artificial intelligence. So you think about your temperature-controlled suits. You think about how you get information today. You want to learn something, you look it up on the internet, look it up on YouTube. That's very new to humans where we could do that. Before it was passed down from ancestor to ancestor. So let's pretend you're in a spot then where all of a sudden all that's ripped away from you. How are you going to survive? How are you going to learn how to hunt? How are you going to learn how to gather? And so that's the position these people are put into in a way. And so then that kind of gives artificial intelligence a play, and really kind of, you could even pull into a religious aspect to it a bit too. So you think about it, the question you can ask, like, if I'm the devil, what am I doing? I'm trying to whisper in people's ears, like, constantly through technology that maybe I don't even exist. And then also I make them more and more dependent on material goods. And all of a sudden I strip that away. And then you're left with the choice. Do you learn to survive? Do you fight? Do you fight for humanity? Or do you succumb to surrendering your consciousness to a machine and living as a machine?
Really fascinating. Well, another thing I get out of it, because this is something I've thought of multiple times, and not just because of the book, but just throughout history. You know, when you have the Winston Churchills of the world and all these world leaders, who's the manipulator? You know what I'm saying? So, like, here, even though you might be, and I haven't read through the whole thing, but if you have people gathering up together and you have someone kind of taking the spearheader role, is he the devil? You know, is he the one that's manipulating people for his own personal gain to keep a little bit more? You know, that's just something I think about.
And that's one end of it too. And then the other end too is you think about like how hot the world is, how hard it is to survive. Why was a world like that created for us to survive? Maybe we were never meant to survive in it. Like, we think about people being the pinnacle of creation. Maybe we were put here to make that artificial intelligence. And so maybe we're just a stepping stone in this stage of evolution.
Man, I like this. How long did it take you to put this together? Because there's a lot of nuance in this one, you know, and a lot of different spokes on the wheel. Did it take a little bit to kind of gather all that information or those ideas and put them on paper? Was it pretty smooth?
Oh, no, it's never smooth.
That's a good point. Good answer.
Yeah. So I would wake up, like I told you before we started, I'd wake up at 3 a.m. to start on this, because I have my day job kind of in the morning, and I like to spend my evenings with my wife and kids. And so I committed to it, but I'd wake up and I'm like, I don't know if I even have anything to write, but I'd force myself to the screen, because I figured if I wait for inspiration, I'll never write it. So I got to work in anticipation that it'll come. And I threw away probably a whole book before I got here too. And I think there's another book in me too around the history around Alton. I just couldn't get the story to click. And then one day I was listening to a podcast, and I thought, you know, one day I bet these podcasts are kind of done by artificial intelligence. They're going to say something weird. It's going to get canceled, and we're all going to be mad about something we made up. And so that got me starting on it. And then I started writing a little bit of it, and it changed into this story eventually.
Well, and when did you start writing this book?
January of last year.
So this is really interesting to me, because in the last year, you know, actually almost 2 years now, because we're almost to January 2025. It's weird to say that. There's been a lot of changes to AI, and just that's what I think is just so the tie-in, because now, I mean, you have videos being, you know, created that never existed, and you have all these different codes that are being created to gather all of our information that we never even will see or hear of, you know. And when you're talking about this, it kind of sneaks up on you.
Yep.
Man, that's cool. Okay, so what was the most interesting part for you when you're putting this book together? Was it the concept, or was it adding to the cake?
It was more just kind of how it developed, and how I can continue to take a step back and think about, as AI is developing today, how do I want to like adjust my life in accordance with that? And so as I think about the skills I have today, they're more in the business world. They're not really useful in a world where all that goes away. And so my 10-year-old son, he's going to be 10 in November. He's taken an interest into hunting. So we're going to start learning how to hunt this year. So that's kind of like a change. So it's like kind of bringing on, like, this book brought on new thoughts and new experiences that we're about to have too.
That's really cool. Hell, man, I talk into a microphone for a living. I already said if something happens tomorrow, I'm sitting on my front porch and waiting for y'all, because I ain't going out there. I know what but that actually to me is one of the coolest things I've heard, is that, you know, now you're kind of adding new, you know, activities and new things to do that you've never done before, man. That's cool.
Yeah, and that's like with the book, it is what it is, but I think I don't know if it'll do well or be what it is.
That's cool.
But I like that I put forth what I thought was a good book, and then I learned a lot about myself along the way.
So tell me how the story works. Does it surround a few characters and follow their kind of journeys, or is it just a main character and then we kind of have some secondary afterwards?
Yeah, there's probably 4 or 5 main characters in it. So one of the main characters is like an Elon Musk type. Only more of a John Hamm personality. So the Elon Musk type is that he created all the artificial intelligence that the world's kind of living off of. But he stepped away from it about 5 years before this story starts, because he started an autonomous car company and his wife was tragically killed in an accident from malfunction from his car company. So he surrendered himself to a life on a farm, trying to distance himself from the technology he created. But then this brings him back into it, along with his daughter, along with an old professor, and along with someone that he turns to find out his wife was working with all those years ago, that may have had a role in creating this fight against artificial intelligence. So he starts to learn kind of secrets about his wife as this uncovers too, as he dives into create what they call a kill code to stop the artificial intelligence. And he wrestles with it along the way. Like, do I create this code and kind of wipe everything out? We're back to nothing. Can people survive? So what's worse? Is it to get rid of humanity and surrender to machines, or kind of wipe it all out and fight to survive?
And then you have to deal with the personal side of it as that character, to hear about all these things that, you know, your wife was working on, and all these things that were happening that you never knew about.
Yeah, he's a wreck.
Man, that's pretty deep there. Now, see, that's what I think, because I always get a little frustrated when I read books, because I'm someone who always likes the sequel, you know, because I want to know what those backstories are, and I want to know what different thoughts are happening, not just for the topic at hand or that the mission of the book, but also just the behind the scenes or those little character developments along the way. And the fact that you have all these nuances, man, that's cool. That hits everything for me. Now, what are some of the other characters we're following along with?
So one of them's his daughter. So she's kind of new into the business world, one of the leaders in technology, pretty much following in his footsteps, but is conflicted. Like, she questions, kind of like how Oppenheimer questioned like the atomic bomb. She questions, should we be trusted with making this intelligence? And so she's living a life conflicted, but then brought into this mission to try and help and save humanity. And the other character is an old professor that helped kind of open the door for the main character Liam into artificial intelligence. He's had this fear that we've got to be ready to stop it. And the other character's the professor's daughter.
Really, man, this is made for a movie. I mean, this is cool. I mean, especially right now, because there's a lot of folks that are nervous about this. And even though it's not like, you know, the front page paper headline, you know, the paper boys out there that says AI's destroying the world, people are still a little nervous about what this looks like in 10 years. And to kind of not really fuel any fire, but also just, like you said, provoke some thoughts. Hey, maybe I should learn a new skill today. You never know. Or just to be entertained. That's why I love it, man. This is cool. So how many chapters are in here?
42, I think.
And I've always wanted to ask this, because I want to write a book. Well, okay, I wrote a book in 5th grade for young authors. It was like the worst. It wasn't the worst. It was actually really terrible. My teacher almost had to like question me, because it was like a murder mystery detective thing, and the guy was like saving this building from exploding, and like, here's a little 10-year-old that's writing about it, you know. But how did you ever get nervous about the length of your pieces? Because, you know, second book, but even with the first one, where you're like, man, I don't know if I can write that much.
A little bit. So I work in data analytics, so I naturally gravitate towards Excel to help organize my thoughts and stuff. So I started to try to break it down into a few different sections. So one of the benefits of the world we live in is you can research and learn almost anything you want to.
True. And
so I started to learn, all right, first book's usually around 80,000 words. You break them out into 20,000 word chunks, and these are the things that have to happen in those chunks, and then you just start to get smaller and smaller to fill in the gaps.
I love it, man. I love how the thought process works there, because I'm ADD, so the moment I hear 80,000, I'm done, you know? See you next year, you know? But for you, when did it start to really go smooth in your writing? Was it like did it take a little bit to hit the stride, or was it right off the bat where you feeling comfortable getting the words out there?
So I would say, like, once the COVID hit in 2020, and we all went home. Like, I have an hour commute to work, an hour commute back. It's like, all right, there's 2 free hours. I'm writing some books. Didn't write any. So I just couldn't get the words to work for the story I was chasing down. I would get about 15,000 words in, throw it away, do that again, throw it away. And so, but then once I got onto this topic, about January of last year, it started to flow a lot smoother. And I mean, me being the analytics person, I track how many words I read each day. And so I can track, like, on line charts, like if I'm going smooth or if I'm stalling, and I can kind of like correlate that. All right, something was going on with work at that time. I was working a lot more hours, so that's why I didn't write any for a month. So, God,
I love this. This is cool, man. I love how you're using your day job to kind of help keep track of your writing, man. That's awesome. So, you know, I got to ask you this, because I've talked to a lot of local authors, and I've had a lot of different people on the show, but the advice that you'd give to somebody that's 15,000 words in and has to throw something out, because you're saying it now like it's no big deal. But I'm sure whenever you're tossing it, it's like, God damn it, man, come on.
Yeah.
Am I right there? Or what's your message to someone who's getting far into a piece, thinks that something's happened, and all of a sudden train stops and we got to start over? What's your advice?
I mean, I remember Stephen King saying you got to know when to kill your darlings. And so that was something that resonated with me. And then always like in life, like there's a lot of things that you try that don't work out, but it doesn't mean that it was a complete failure. You always learn something from that. So that experience helps with your next effort to try at it.
Man, that's really cool. And getting back into the book, what are some of is there a lot of personal journeys in the monsters we make, or is it a collective trying to save on one mission at the same time?
There's a collective try to save mission at one time, but each of those 4 characters have their own personal journey that evolves throughout the story too.
That's cool, man. Our book out for sale right now?
Yeah.
Where's it at?
It's on Amazon right now.
We're going to link it right about it. You got a moment to stick around?
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break. Before we do, let me fill you in on Hainer Library, one of my favorite supporters of the show. At Hainer Library, it's a door. That's what we call it, just a door. A door to adventure, knowing, fun, learning, you name it. What I think's cool, you have kids, right?
Yep.
School age yet?
Yeah, 9-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Well, you know this just being in high school, right before finals, your TI-84 calculator breaks, okay? Your mom and dad are pissed off because they got to go to Walmart, buy a $200 calculator, and then return it because you're going to college and not even going to take that math class again. Not anymore. You go to the Library of Things, you can rent it for free. You just check it out. You return it whenever you want. And they have stuff like that, man, for like outdoor games you can do with your kids, ghost hunting equipment, podcasting equipment, projectors. Or like if you're baking for a large crowd, they have all these like stand mixers that you can rent instead of calling somebody to do all your baking for you. You can save big and just return it. That's called the Library of Things. You want to plant? They have a seed library where you can get organic native seeds right there at Hainer Library and use them in your garden. HainerLibrary.org. Click on How Do I? Get a library card. Click on that. Fill out your information, and boom, you are taken care of courtesy of our friends at Hainer. For more information, HainerLibrary.org, or hang out with Mary Cordes and I on the first and last Monday of each and every month.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
I just got a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet mine's better. It's so efficient and quiet, I hardly know it's running.
I've got you both trunked. I've got a Linux.
So do I.
Barrett Heating and Cooling carries Linux products to meet any budget. Don't gamble with your energy dollars. Call Barrett Heating and Cooling and start saving today.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off Dog Walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Divs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts number 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit VillageDispo.com and shop now.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they know your house is home base for their dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, ready? Future rocket scientist, or a budding prima ballerina. When you feel totally protected, your family's free to pursue their dreams. She's good.
Let's go.
American Family Insurance.
Get paid to go solar.
We're not solar bros. At Grid, we're solar pros. We explain the process behind solar power so you can make an informed decision. We'll work with you to make owning your power as simple as possible and affordable with zero down financing and payment options. Our only goal is to save you money. Call Grid when you're ready to be independent of the power company.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Cause you see, I'm a dinosaur. I should have died out a long time before. Have pity on a
Little Bo Cephas and a lot of the monsters we make as we're continuing our conversation. I'm a Hank Williams Jr. guy, underrated, just a little wild. I watched the video. This guy was shooting shotguns off at his concerts in the 80s. And here we are now,
Different times.
Take me through this process just from start to finish, because I find this really fascinating. The backstory to it, granted, you're passionate about it, but you also have to stay passionate working your day job, which is not like, Uber Eats. You have a full-time day job. Take me through your passion and process in this and what motivated you to get to the finish line.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks for asking. So I think about it. So I mentioned earlier I would wake up really early, and this would be kind of my therapy a bit, is to go in and I want to try and get 300 words done each day, and then I could go into work knowing I already accomplished something. Sometimes you get into work, you're in meetings back to back to back to back, and then at the end you're like, did I even do anything for the day? And so I think that was part of what helped me with it too. This is a motivation, is knowing I could at least check that box that I accomplished something with those words. I track them in my Excel sheet, of course, and be able to watch the progress. And then part of it too is I read a bit of Stephen Pressfield, The War of Art, and so he really talks about you got to do the work. So go in every day, even if you don't have the motivation, even if you don't have the inspiration, just go and do the work. He talks about summoning the muse, as it's like a real thing that you can just have a routine and summon it. And so you kind of be ready to open up that blank screen and just start going.
Man, that's fascinating because, I run it, and obviously I don't write, but for the show and you're trying to find guests and stuff, it gets kind of, not stale, but it gets hard every once in a while because it's like, man, where do I go from here?
Yep.
And throughout the book, when you're writing this one, did you ever have that where do we go from here moment? Or is it just, man, no, I'm feeling good about this. Let's keep running.
No, I mean, there's a lot of times where I was like, I don't know where this is going to go from here too. But as I mentioned, I'd break it out into those chunks. And so I'd like, all right, I'll try to get to that chunk. It's a foggy view of where it goes from there. Hopefully it gets a little more clear as I get there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would surprise myself a little bit. I was like, oh, I didn't even know this person was going to start behaving that way. And so then they evolve as I start to write it too.
That's something I've always called BS on in an author until a couple of months ago when I really started to understand how the writing mind works. Because I always thought, okay, yeah, you tell that to the audience just to kind of like make us all go, wow, we're following along with you. But man, you're right. Because after really talking to writers, it's like the story's developing in your mind first. And so it's like when you're done writing that chapter, hell, you don't know what's going to happen 10 chapters from now. You're working on your breakouts, and then you're going to get there eventually.
Yep.
Man, I just find this awesome, man.
Yeah,
and by the way, if we have any producers out there, the monsters we make, I'm telling you, give Danny the rights and then make the movie and then make everyone a couple $1 million. I think this is going to do well. I'm telling you, I can see it. And I only need a couple of finder fees to get it done. Take me through your family support on this because I'm sure, even though you're getting up early to do this and then spending time with them in the evening, that can get a little challenging at times, I'm sure. Did they support you every step of the way?
Oh, yeah.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah, my wife, we've been married. It'll be 13 years in November.
Congrats.
And yeah, she was always there to listen to me, so I wanted to talk about it. Always proud of me for keeping it going. I told the kids this morning on the way in, hey, I might be on the radio today. And they're like, really, Dad? Can we leave school? Can we listen? And so
you can watch it later, about 11:30.
I told them we'll record it for them. They can watch it later. Yep.
Well, seriously, Danny, I just think this is wonderful. And let me ask you this, because I kind of have an idea just from talking with you the last 20 minutes of how the book ends, because I like to do that. I like to foreshadow and just see. Does the book end on a cliffhanger? Does the book end on a open-ended question like The Sopranos, you know what I'm saying, where the lights just go out? Or does it have a conclusive ending?
The door's open for a sequel for it.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, and see, now, what takeaways did you use in our real lives right now, your day-to-day life right now, those real-world connections to get the book done?
Oh, like making connections with people?
Yeah, like in the real world things you were seeing just happening in terms of AI currently as you were writing the book, and then how the world was reacting to it. Did you use a lot of that, or was it all just inside that you were using from personal feeling?
Oh, no, I would read articles about AI, listen to shows about it too, and just start to think about like where it was going, and then how are we going to react to it was a question I kept coming to. And then what will our lives be like 10 years from now, 20 years from now? And so that kind of just compounded upon each other over time.
Wow. Man, I'm not being funny. I'm not patronizing you. I never get this excited about, talking about books because I have to read them first. But just hearing about this one, I'm in. Like, I'm totally in.
Well, you can have this one.
Oh, I will. I'll take it. Well, and now, whenever you were done with this one, did you have, do your coworkers know that you're a writer?
Yeah, they know.
That's cool.
Yeah, because I wrote one a while ago.
Right.
And sometimes they'd ask, like, hey, are you doing another one? It's like, oh, sometime I will. But yeah, eventually I let them in that I was writing this one, and then they know about it when I posted it on LinkedIn and stuff too.
Man, that's cool. And like I said, Danny, what's your overall kind of elevator for the book as we're wrapping this conversation up, for anybody that's still kind of on the fence and getting ready to click on that direct link on the RiverBender.com article when that comes out and getting their hands on a copy? What's your elevator?
Yeah, I think if you want a story that kind of takes on some big themes that we're seeing within the world today, while also having characters that can make you mad at them, make you hate them, and make you love them at the same time throughout the story, this might be a book for you.
Now, I got a question for you. The characters, because you said there was an Elon Musk type of one. Did you use a lot of like bigger names to connect the characters, or are some of the characters folks that we would never really connect, but folks from your personal life?
No, I tried to keep it like not anything about me.
Yeah, cool.
So
okay.
I tried to, and the Elon Musk connection, it's more just creating the empire of AI, but the personality, like this main character, is not trying to populate the world or anything like that, or doing some of the things Elon does, or go to Mars.
Yeah.
But it's a brilliant mind that the world is better for. Just different personality beyond that.
Do you think your readers are going to be able to make different connections per character? Like, even though it's the Elon Musk empire, not to connect the two, but folks going, man, that reminds me of, a Musk, or hey, that reminds me of, such and such. Is that going to happen?
It might, yeah. It depends on kind of
so.
what their history of what they like to watch is like. I could see some connections. My favorite movie is Interstellar, so I could see some connections from the characters in that to the characters in this book, too.
Interstellar was a great movie.
Yeah.
That was cool. You know what else was an underrated? Prometheus. You remember that one?
Oh, I remember that one.
That was a great one.
Yeah.
Danny, I wish you nothing but the best. When you get ready on your next book, or you just want to fill us in on how the Monsters We Make's going and getting turned into that movie, which I think it will be, you got to do it. It's got to be a movie. We've had producers on this show before, and if you're watching, call Danny, pay for the book rights, and then let's make Danny millionaire. I like it.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Danny, thank you so much for your time. Danny Margis and the Monsters We Make. We'll link everything on demand on the RiverBender.com article. Thank you for your time today, and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you, CJ.
9:43, before we take a quick break, Sparks Junk Removal and Hauling is the go-to spot for all of your trash needs. There's a big company out there that some of you just aren't really a fan of, and that's cool. Now you have a new option. For 30 years, Denise Sparks has been the queen of junk, and now for the next 30, she's the queen of junk and trash. She has those purple and yellow trash cans, and they're mating like rabbits. I mean, it's wild. She started it a year and a half ago, and then all of a sudden, all of my grandma's neighborhood was purple and yellow trash cans that said Sparks. Reason being, she cares about you, her customers, her community, but also the environment. She is very good about netting those trash trucks down so nothing's flying all over the roadways and getting everything dirty. Plus, when you call Denise Sparks, guess what? Wild. You get Denise Sparks. You don't get, all right, let me expedite your claim here, and in 3 days we won't call you. You get a local company. Start your journey with the Queen of Junk and the Queen of Trash today by going to sparksjunkremoval.net.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
I just got a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet mine's better. It's so efficient and quiet, I hardly know it's running.
I've got you both trumped. I've got a Linux.
So do I.
Barrett Heating and Cooling carries Linux products to meet any budget. Don't gamble with your energy dollars. Call Barrett Heating and Cooling and start saving today.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off Dog Walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Divs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts No. 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit VillageDispo.com and shop now.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they know your house is home base for their dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, future rocket scientist, or a budding prima ballerina. When you feel totally protected, your family's free to pursue their dreams. She's good.
Let's go.
American Family Insurance.
Get paid to go solar. We're not solar bros. At Grid, we're solar pros. We explain the process behind solar power so you can make an informed decision. We'll work with you to make owning your power as simple as possible and affordable with zero down financing and payment options. Our only goal is to save you money. Call Grid when you're ready to be independent of the power company.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Welcome back to Our Daily Show. So, really quick, this has been a year of growth for me in the show. And as you guys know, last year we started conversations with No Labels. And No Labels obviously fizzled out. But what I think is really unique is that they kept in contact with us. And they've been able to provide some very valuable insights. In this conversation that I have with Les Rubin, you've seen him on pretty much all the major television networks. He's written for so many publications and also the founder of Main Street Economics. He joined me yesterday afternoon, and we're talking about some of the policies that are being talked about on both sides of the aisle. You know, right now we hear of all the nomics out there, you know, that different political parties put on policy, you know, like Bidenomics and Kamalanomics and Trumponomics and, you know, trickle down, all of that stuff. We go through it all. But what I find really fascinating here is Les breaks down a simple problem. We don't have the money. So we're going to go into this interview now. This is one of my favorites with Les Rubin. He's the founder of Main Street Economics, and he gave us his time yesterday. Very thankful for it, and we're going to be talking to him a few more times ahead of November. Welcome back to Our Daily Show on this Friday morning, the 23rd day of August. It's not every day that we get to talk to someone who knows so much about the economy as Les Rubin. Thank you so much, sir, for your time this morning in the Metro East area of St. Louis.
Well, glad to be with you, and thanks for having me.
Well, and you know, this has been a very unprecedented year in a national political level with now the transition of Kamala Harris assuming the role of the presidential candidate for the Democratic ticket. And there's still so much that we really don't know on how policies really could affect us. We're starting to hear these ideas, these platforms start to trickle out. And Les, right off the bat, could you give us just an overview of what you're hearing, what you're seeing, and what this means for us going forward if we have to deal with Kamalanomics?
Well, she's got her policies focused on a number of areas, and some of the particulars are a little bit vague at this point, but she did start to unveil some of that last Friday. And one of the items she had is she's focusing on trying to bring housing costs down as well as grocery costs. So on the grocery side, it was trying to work on price gouging. I'm not sure what she means by that because there's really no evidence that the Fed has found out that that's happening. If she means fixing prices, of course, that's debunked by virtually everybody from all sides. That has never worked and will never work. All that does is create shortages in black markets. That it doesn't solve the problem. You need pricing signals in order to tell people what to produce and to curb demand. So we have a whole collection of populist ideas. Many of them will sound good to people because they're getting something for nothing. There's a downside to that, and that is that our deficits are already skyrocketing and headed up over the next 10 years, and this will just make it worse.
Well, not to cut you off, Les, but this is something that we're dealing with here in this Illinois portion of St. Louis so much is, we hear time and time again that, well, it's because of the corporate, the corporations are raising the price of cereal. It's because of them. But Les, I mean, you know this more than I do. Take me through how these policies led to this skyrocketing in everyday material, if you could.
Well, what's really happened and that's caused this serious inflation, and it is serious, and it's a big problem for almost everybody in the country. But what's led to the problems, it's not collusion in the marketplace, it's the fiscal irresponsibility of our federal government and bad fiscal policies, bad monetary policies. So we've had this explosion, literally an explosion of the money supply. And when you increase the money supply much more rapidly than you increase the supply of goods and services, you get one thing, you get inflation. Right. And the inflation, of course, in order to curb that, they have to tamp down the economy. And so they raise the interest rates in order to fight the, excuse me, to fight the inflation. And that's all designed to slow aggregate demand. So the root cause of our problems, it isn't that people are colluding on prices, it's that we have bad fiscal and monetary problems, and that's really the source of all of the problems that we're seeing economically today, and it's hurting a lot of people quite badly.
Well, and that's something that I'm glad that you brought up, because I was seeing, especially hearing Vice President Harris talking about this housing, how we're going to fix the the issues with housing, but I'm seeing that foreclosures are, starting to really go up there. I've read in an article that there were 32,000 plus properties that were having foreclosure filings. Am I correct on that?
I don't know those specific numbers in your area, but I do know foreclosures are going up generally, and it's a combination of people are having trouble making ends meet because they're having a net decrease in real earnings, and interest rates have gone up so much. And it's not just on housing. People are living on credit cards, and the credit card interest rate is very high. And if you can't pay off your credit card, you're really getting killed with the high interest rates on those. So it's leading to a lot of problems for people that are struggling mightily against the headwinds that we have.
Well, and Les, I was somebody a year ago who bought my first house with our county's first-time homebuyer program, was able to use some of those benefits. But, I just don't see how going forward, kids my age, 25 years and younger, are going to be able to afford that home without renting first because of the way that prices are. I mean, electric bills are insane. You can't afford to feed yourself half the time, it seems like. And I'm sorry I'm going on a rant today, but I worry about that next generation. How can they afford their American dream? Do you care to weigh in on that?
Well, we're not going to afford them if we keep following the fiscal policies that we're following. In order to do that, we have to bring down interest rates, which is a prime problem for people buying houses. And of course, that cost of the house has gone up a lot. Insurance has skyrocketed. You have all of these other costs. And until people's real earnings start increasing again, and they've been decreasing over the last 3 years, until they start increasing again, it's going to be very difficult. And then you have to bring down interest rates in order to make the mortgages affordable. And the only way to do that is to get to sound fiscal policies. And there's nothing in the economic plans that I see that are going to help our fiscal problems. They're just worse. That's really the reason I started Main Street Economics, which is become my passion to try and crusade for sound fiscal policies. That's the only solution in the long run to help people, young kids starting out, to be able to afford a house.
Well, and less on top of that, too, this last couple of years, we've seen this increase in government spending. How does that affect an overheated economy? If I'm on the right track here, am I just to clarify this? Because to me, it seems like, we kept hearing some different statements made from economists on, I would assume, the other side of the aisle, that life's looking great and don't worry about, the fears of recession and the fear of this overstimulation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the economy is clearly slowing down. That's purposeful because they've increased interest rates dramatically in order to do that. But that's not the only thing. We have to get fiscal policies. We have 35 trillion of interest-bearing debt. You probably know that. The projection is for that to go to 55 trillion of interest-bearing debt over the next 10 years. So we're gigantically increasing money supply, and as long as you do that in excess of the growth of the economy, you're going to have problems. So my whole crusade in Main Street economics is to try and alert people to the problem and get fiscal responsibility in Washington, D.C. Without that, we're not going to cure the problems. And if we don't get there, we're in danger of destroying our whole country at some point in time.
Well, unless I want to ask you what you would propose to help stabilize this, because I'm concerned too with this price gouging. I was hearing Vice President Harris talk about this, and to me, and I'm not an expert, but it just made it feel like I'm going to be in a bread line to receive, food if that was the case. What are your thoughts? Because I still don't know what the policy actually is.
Well, the policy is very vague. There's some implication that there's collusion to create higher prices, and yet the Fed has studied it, and there's no evidence of that. You do get a lot of populist ideas that are thrown out that sound good, and they don't feel good. They feel bad because they don't work. They're appealing to people when you say, "Oh, I'm going to give you $25,000 for your home down payment." Well, that sounds great. Or I'm going to give you $6,000 in child support credits. All that sounds good, but all that's doing is increasing the deficits. There's nobody in Washington that's paying attention to our fiscal policy, and without that, we eventually will end up in breadlines. The debt is at 35 trillion. The only way we can pay the debt is to borrow more money because we don't have a profit from which to repay the debt. That's called a Ponzi scheme. And Ponzi schemes someday fail. Right now, the country can operate because we have a credit card that still works. People will loan us money. But when they stop, this whole thing will crash. That's a serious concern, and it should be for people, younger people, even people of middle age and up. This cannot go on indefinitely. We will have a crash at some point, and it will be ugly if we let that happen.
I wanted to ask you about that too, because when I talk to older generations on the show that are in politics, they go, well, our generation won't have to worry about it, but yours will. And I'm starting to think that's not necessarily the case. How quickly could things go bad if we don't start to get responsible with how we are going about the spending overall?
Well, no one actually can tell you the answer to that question, but my best guess is that we have a maximum of 10 years before we start heading south in a serious way. As long as people will continue to loan us money, we can continue to operate, but at some point, the interest on that and the accumulated deficits are going to destroy the country. So we have to start moving to fiscal responsibility. I think it's less than 10 years before we start having major problems. And I feel like Cassandra, Cassandra was the Greek goddess that could see the future, but no one would believe her.
Right.
I feel like Cassandra sometime. I can see this coming. It's like a freight train coming at us at 100 miles an hour. And yet I say that and no one wants to pay attention to it. They believe, well, we've never had a problem, so we won't have a problem. I addressed this in a pamphlet I just put on my website. Our website is mainstreeteconomics.org. The pamphlet is called Failure is Our Option. We are failing by choice. Because we won't address the problems, and it will lead to a disaster at some point in the future. No one knows when that'll be, but it's not 100 years away. It's probably 10 years or less.
Well, and Les, getting back to, you hit on something. This, to me, it's, these populist ideas, but I call it the Oprah show, where it's, you get a tax credit, you get to pay for, or you get this for free, is what we're hearing during a lot of every election cycle. But now it's starting to get to this point where it really feels like it's every day without substance. We're hearing about these policies. How dangerous is that for our up and coming generations? Maybe our newer voters, maybe our middle-aged voters that are hearing this that just don't understand it.
It's critically dangerous. If we continue down the road we're on, we will end up with a disaster and a crisis at some point in the future. No one knows exactly when that will be. That's why I wrote this pamphlet, and I would encourage all of your viewers to take a look.
Yeah.
It's free download on our website, mainstreeteconomics.org. It's only a 15-minute read, and it will open your eyes to the problems we face and what we have to do about it.
And Les, we'll link everything on our on-demand video and in the article write-up that we do on this conversation. And getting into just the presidential race a little bit more, if possible, we're hearing some of these ideas, is what I'm calling them, because there's not enough substance to make it a policy, in my opinion, and that's not, my political persuasion. It's just 2 + 2 is 4 for me, and it's that clear. But on the flip side of that, with President Trump, are you seeing, or former President Trump, running again, do you see any of his policies that could maybe help combat some of this that we're facing today?
I don't think either candidate is addressing the serious nature of these problems.
Yes.
There's a fundamental problem with our entitlement programs, and politicians will not touch that subject. In our book, I wrote a book that was published earlier this year called The Greatest Ponzi Scheme on Earth. And in that, I explain how we can fix Social Security, go to private accounts, and never cut benefits. But it's a costly thing, and it will take about 20 years to do that conversion. But we have to touch entitlements because they're broken. And under current law, once the trust funds run out in about 10 years, there are major benefit cuts that are required by the law. In Social Security, it's at least a 21% cut across the board, and it'll probably be worse than that by the time we get there.
And let's just follow up on something that I've been hearing on multiple outlets the last couple of months, is the ending of Trump's tax cuts is what we keep hearing. If these go away, then we could see higher prices. Do you believe in that? Do you think that there will be a reaction if that tax cut goes away and is not taken care of?
Well, it's a two-edged sword with the tax cut. If you do raise the taxes and you let them all expire, that will be harm to our economy. On the other side, if you extend them, there's a cost to the economy. So there's not a great choice here, but I can say, for example, in corporate taxes, people don't realize this, but when we cut the tax from, I believe it was 35% down to 21% today, which is competitive with the rest of the industrialized world, tax revenues went up from corporations, not down. And the reason for that is the corporations came back home. You had more corporations, more incentives, and the corporate activity expanded and got more profitable. And that increased our tax revenue from corporations after about a year delay for it to take effect. And they want to raise them back, at least Kamala wants to raise it back up. At one time, it was back to 35%, which would have made us the worst in the industrialized world. Now they're saying 28%, which makes us very high, and it will disincentivize corporations from coming here and from expanding. Incentives is everything in economics, and when you get the incentives right, you get good results. And when you get the incentives backwards, as many of ours are, you get very bad results. And that's what we're seeing right now. But people don't want to give up the goodies. The politicians keep promising more and more of this and that, and we don't have any means to pay for those. It's becoming critically dangerous to our whole country.
100%, Les. And I like I said, I very much appreciate your time. One final question for you this time around the horn is, as a real estate developer, how do these, I hate to say policies, how do these ideas that are being rolled out, how do they affect what the development world is going to be in the next couple of years, with what Kamala's wanting to do with this housing market?
Well, if we don't get interest rates down, and I don't develop residentially, I develop
Commercial. Yep.
But the interest rates are very big expense for developers, and the interest rates are a very big expense for home buyers because they can't afford the mortgage payment. So they either don't buy the home, or they have to buy a much smaller home than they would normally have been able to do. So if we don't get interest rates back down, then it's a big damage to the economy and to first-time home buyers. Younger people are seriously affected by this, as well as interest rate on their credit cards if they're not in a position to pay them all.
Well, and Les, our area here in Alton's very historic with Robert Wadlow and the Lincoln Douglas debates, and we have a very nice main street with mom and pop shops that are used to pop up all the time and stay there. And I just don't know, I can't feel confident going forward in 4 years that these policies are going to make it easier for them to do what they do, and that's support our community. What are your thoughts on that side of things?
The policies are harmful, and it's not just hers.
Right.
It's been going on for 20 years, ever since we last balanced our budget under Clinton. Since then, it's just gotten progressively worse, and the debt has now grown to a point where it's almost unmanageable, and it's 125% of our whole economy, our GDP, and it's projected to get much worse. That is not sustainable. The financials that the Treasury puts out every year says in it the current fiscal path is unsustainable. They're not kidding. It is not sustainable. And if we don't address that, then we are going to have a serious problem at some point in the not too distant future. And the only way the politicians are going to do that is with public support. We have to educate the public, and that's really what I'm trying to do at Main Street Economics, is educate the public so they will support prudent fiscal decisions by our politicians in Washington.
Absolutely. Les, thank you so much for your time and giving it to us today. This was very insightful. You guys can follow along more by with the links that we attach to the pamphlet and to Main Street Economics. The founder of Main Street Economics, Les Rubin, thank you so much for your time today, sir, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Great. I'd love to do that, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you, sir.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible. Covering auto, home, business, and life insurance, our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
For the biggest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in the Riverbend, visit AltonToyota.com or stop by their location on the Homer Adams Parkway in Alton. Winner of the prestigious President's Award, Munganast Burkhardt Alton Toyota knows how to treat their customers, and they will help you find the vehicle that is perfect for you. For years, Munganast Toyota has been a fixture in the Riverbend, and now Munganast Burkhardt carries the tradition. New name, but the same great service you've come to expect.
I had an amazing experience with Dr. Haug and her team. I came here when I was 10 years old to get my braces on. Now I'm 28 years old, braces off, and I get so many compliments on my smile. It's helped me thrive in my career as a news reporter, and also as Miss Missouri USA, I took the stage with confidence, knowing my smile was gonna make me look like $1 million. I've never felt better and more confident because of my smile.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Tintin, welcome back to our daily show, and really just an interesting conversation. And, to all of you that were maybe thought that was a little bit one-sided, my apologies. We never try to here. It's just, on certain things, we have to kind of balance it back and forth, and it's no reflection on my thoughts or anything like that. And we try to stay down the middle. And Les has been on multiple platforms on both sides of the media aisle and really just tries to get the information out there. So my apologies if anyone kind of didn't like that one too much. But honestly, just some very valuable information. We are doing too much without enough, So really, again, thank you to Les, and thank you to the team that helped set that up. This is we're getting there, man, and those interviews don't happen locally very often, so really happy with that. 10:11 is the time, and let's go to top of the hour news now on this 23rd day of August. Here's what we have going around the Riverbend today. This could have been tragic, but Alton firefighters have come through. Alton Fire Department responded to a structure fire in the 2700th block of Sanford Avenue just before 10 last night. Here's the latest. Upon arrival, firefighters encountered heavy flames coming from the home. They swiftly brought the fire under control. During a search of the premises, found a dog inside. Firefighters promptly removed the dog and administered oxygen. Following the treatment, the dog began walking around and appeared to be in good condition. The East Alton Fire Department assisted at the scene. Fortunately, no injuries have been reported. The cause currently remains under investigation. Also in the news today, something a little different for us in top of the hour news, but this is a part of our weekly history article by Lacey McDonald. This next one focuses on Bernice and Clarence Geisler's marriage faced a premature end when a troubled horse trade between the fathers led to legal action and family strife. We're going to be talking about this on Wednesday at 10:10, but so many of you have already read it. It made our top of the hour news, so that means that's great for Lacey McDonald and just a wonderful article from her. We'll talk more with Lacey Wednesday at 10:10 about this very piece. Also in the news today, and more serious news as we are all recovering from the news yesterday, a large contingent of law enforcement officers gathered at Hawthorne Animal Hospital Thursday morning, and they honored Alton, the beloved Alton Police K-9 who died in the line of duty after being shot at the scene at 7th and Liberty in Alton, doing his job. Representatives from the Alton Police, the DEA, Madison County Sheriff, Illinois State Police, Edwardsville Police, Granite City Police, the Glen Carbon Police, Columbia Police, along with numerous unmarked law enforcement vehicles, they participated in the tribute at Hawthorne. Odin's casket, draped with the American flag, was brought out as the Edwardsville Fire Department displayed an American flag from its ladder truck at Plum Street. Taps were played as the K-9 was moved into transport, and officers saluted the fallen partner K-9 during the transfer. The procession escorted Odin to an undisclosed location, marking that solemn farewell to a K-9 who served the community and was ready for a full career. Also in the news today, Alton Mayor David Goins did hold a press conference yesterday regarding this officer-involved shooting, which resulted in the deaths of the suspect and K-9 Officer Odin. The injury of Alan Averbeck, the incident occurred in the early morning hours of 6th Street in Alton, where officers exchanged gunfire. The good news, Officer Averbeck left the hospital and is recovering at home. However, his partner Odin succumbed to his injuries. Mayor Goins emphasized community unity and our resilience, mourning the loss of Alton as a loyal companion and a trusted team member. The investigation being handled by Illinois State Police. No further suspects are being sought. From all of us here at RiverBender.com to Officer Alan Averbeck, we wish you a speedy recovery and thank you so much for your service. And we are mourning with you in the loss of your partner. Also, in the news today, let's take a quick check at your weather. It's 76 degrees. It jumped in the last hour. It feels like 85 out there. Today, mostly sunny, and here comes the heat, baby. Heat and humidity to build over the weekend and early next week. Tonight, partly cloudy and humid. The air quality is getting rough out there, so if you guys got a bad set of lungs, stay inside. Air quality at 55, which is ranked at moderate. Grass levels are moderate. Ragweed is high, almost very high. The UV index very high right now. It's starting to be a little bit different than last week. Temperatures reach 87 degrees today. They drop down to 69 overnight as we head into Saturday. On Saturday, a high of 90, a low of 68 degrees. And on Sunday, a high of 91, a low of 71 degrees. On Monday, a high of 95, a low of 73. No rain in the forecast. But on Tuesday, folks, it's going to get hot. Almost 100 degrees on Tuesday with a low of 71. For time and temperature throughout the day, you can call 618-465-4545. This time powered by Tom Lane, your local State Farm agent. 76 degrees at 10:16, and that's a look at what's happening around the Riverbend. We'll take a quick pause. We'll come back with more of our daily show. But before we do that, let's take a look at downtown Alton on this Friday morning.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
I just got a new air conditioner. Top of the line.
I bet mine's better. It's so efficient and quiet, I hardly know it's running.
I've got you both trunked. I've got a Linux.
So do I.
Barrett Heating and Cooling carries Linux products to meet any budget. Don't gamble with your energy dollars. Call Barrett Heating and Cooling and start saving today.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off Dog Walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Divs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts No. 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit VillageDispo.com and shop now.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they know your house is home base for their dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, ready? Future rocket scientist, or a budding prima ballerina. When you feel totally protected, your family's free to pursue their dreams. She's good.
Let's go.
American Family Insurance.
Get paid to go solar.
We're not solar bros. At Grid, we're solar pros. We explain the process behind solar power so you can make an informed decision. We'll work with you to make owning your power as simple as possible and affordable with zero down financing and payment options. Our only goal is to save you money. Call Grid when you're ready to be independent of the power company.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Welcome back, 1019, a little bit of change on this Friday morning in the heart of the 618. I haven't said that one in a while. How about that? People are going to start stealing my lines. I got to keep doing that. Trademark it, Hey, on this date in history, this is really cool. On this date in 1902, pioneering cookbook author Fanny Farmer, who changed the way that Americans prepare food by advocating for the use of standardized measurements and recipes, opened Miss Farmer's School of Cookery in Boston, in addition to teaching women about cooking. Farmer later educated medical professionals about the importance of proper nutrition for the sick. Really cool stuff. Farmer was born March 23rd, 1857. Raised near Boston. Her family believed in education for women, and Farmer attended Medford High School. However, as a teenager, she suffered a paralytic stroke that turned her into a homebound invalid for a period of years. As a result, she was unable to complete high school or even attend college, and her illness left her with a permanent limp. When she was in her early 30s, Farmer attended Boston Cooking School. Founded in 1879, the school promoted a scientific approach to food preparation and trained women to become cooking teachers at a time when their employment opportunities were, of course, limited. Farmer graduated from the program in 1889 and in 1891 became the school's principal. In 1896, she published her first cookbook, the Boston College School Cookbook, which included a wide range of straightforward recipes with information about cooking and sanitation techniques, unheard of in the day. Household management along with nutrition. Farmer's book became a bestseller and revolutionized American cooking through its use of precise measurements, a novel culinary concept at the time. Just put a heaping in there. In 1902, Farmer left the Boston Cooking School and founded Miss Farmer's School of Cookery. In addition to running her school, she traveled and did speaking engagements around the United States and continued to write cookbooks. In 1904, she published Food and Cookery for the Sick and Convalescent, which provided food recommendations for specific diseases, nutritional information for children, and information about the digestive system, among other topics. Farmer's expertise in the areas of nutrition and illness led her to lecture at Harvard Medical School. How cool. Farmer died January the 15th, 1915, at the age of 57. After Farmer's death, Alice Bradley, who taught at Miss Farmer's School of Cookery, took over the business and ran it until the mid-40s in the Fanny Farmer Cookbook. It's still in print today. That's what happened on this date in history. And also on this date in history, in 1904, Harold Weed. Oh, what a last name. Harold Weed of Conestoga, New York. Conestoga. I think that's cool. What do you guys think? Is it Conestoga? Conestoga? What do you think? Weigh in. New York has issued a U.S. patent number 768495 for his Grip Tread pneumatic tires, a non-skid tire non-skid tire chain to be used on automobiles in order to increase traction on slick roads with mud, snow, or more. And yes, the patent for the tire chain was issued on this date in history in 1904. In 1784, during the American Revolution, kind of post the American Revolution though, 4 counties in western North Carolina declared their independence as the state of Franklin. The counties lay in what would eventually become Tennessee. That happened on this date in 1784. On this date in 1861, Alan Pinkerton, head of the new Secret Service agency of the federal government, places Confederate spy Rose O'Neal Greenhow under house arrest in Washington, D.C. On this date in 1999, the New York City, they reported the first case of the West Nile virus. That happened on this date, August the 23rd, 1999. In the year 2000, the first Survivor finale aired on this date. Richard Hatch, a 39-year-old corporate trainer from Rhode Island, wins season 1 and the promised $1 million prize. That was gone by Tuesday. On this date, in 1877, Texas Ranger John Armstrong arrests John Wesley Hardin in a Florida rail car, returning the outlaw to Texas to stand trial for murder. 3 years later, Hardin had killed Deputy Charles Webb in a small town near Austin, Texas, and 3 years later, Hardin was taken back into Texas to stand trial. On this date in 1814, a lot of stuff happened on this date. On this date in 1814, First Lady Dolly Madison did the legendary move and saved the portrait of George Washington from being looted by British troops during the War of 1812. On this date in 1989, punishment for betting on baseball, Pete Rose, the greatest hitter of all time, accepts that settlement that included a lifetime ban from the game. On this date in 1939, Germany and Soviet Union signed a non-aggression pact, stunning the world and given their diametrically opposed ideologies, but the Hitler-Stalin pact signed on this date in 1939. On this date in music, let's take a look, shall we? All right, let's go down a little bit further. On this date in 1980, the Heatwave Festival in Toronto took place with Talking Heads, Elvis Costello, the B-52s, the Pretenders, Rock Powell, and the Rumor. Tickets cost $30 with only 50,000 people attend. With only 50,000 people. With only 50,000 people attending. The festival lost $1 million. How much did you pay these guys? I mean, wow. That's like unheard. That is incredible. You had 50,000 people. Tickets cost $30, and you still lost $1 million. I mean, that is an all-star award. And I don't think we have time for it. That is incredible. I mean, you have got to be some type of just something. Anyway, on this date in 1980, David Bowie was at #1 on the UK singles chart with Ashes to Ashes, his second UK #1 taken from Scary Monsters. The song continued the story of Major Tom from Space Odyssey. The video for Ashes to Ashes was one of the most iconic of the 80s, costing around £250,000 back in the day to make. It was at the time the most expensive music video ever made. You know why I like Space Oddity? It isn't David Bowie. It's the Secret Life of Walter Mitty. You know what I'm talking? Have you seen that movie? It's really good. Like Ben Stiller gets a lot of flack because a lot of his, like Night at the Museum, wonderful. Madagascar, wonderful. Something About Mary, wonderful. Meet the Fockers, wonderful. And then he got to like that weird his older career, and it wasn't as strong but he got a lot of flack for Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I thought it was a great movie because I'm always in left field anyway, and I kind of daydream, and every time I heard that song, it just put a smile on my face. How about that? Oh, let's see. On this date in 1971, the one, the only, Diana Ross was at #1 on the UK singles chart with this song. There you go. I'm Still Waiting. The singer's first solo UK #1, which spent 4 weeks at the top of the charts, was released after BBC Radio 1 DJ Tony Blackburn featured it heavily on his morning program. I think Diana Ross is just wonderful. Also, on this date in history, the Rolling Stones not released. How about this? The Rolling Stones on this date in 1969, they started a 4-week run at #1 on the U.S. singles chart with this song.
I met a gentle ballroom queen in Memphis. She tried to take me upstairs for a ride. She had to heave me right across her shoulder. 'Cause I just can't seem to drink it off my mind.
Honky Tonk Woman hit #1 on this date in 1969. The fifth number one in the United States, the song written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, was inspired by Brazilian gauchos at the ranch where Jagger and Richards were staying in Mateo? Help me out here. Sao Paulo, Brazil. On this date, I thought that was a fun addition. On this date in 1969, Johnny Cash started a 4-week run at number one on the U.S. album chart. Wow. I had no idea he did this with Johnny Cash at San Quentin, a great album. The album was a recording of a live concert that he gave to the inmates of San Quentin State Prison and a follow-up to Cash's previous live album, the, of course, critically acclaimed and the very successful Live at Folsom Prison. Is that the one where he drank the water? I don't know. Walk the Line was a great movie. I mean, I'm sorry I'm going on like a little tangent today. Just kind of tired, but Walk the Line was one of like the best biopic, whatever, of all time. Joaquin Phoenix was wonderful, but Reese Witherspoon was great too, you know? Good stuff. On this date in 1967, enjoying a wild birthday party, Keith Moon, of course, the drummer of The Who, drove his Lincoln car into a Holiday Inn swimming pool. Well, even cars need to get washed every once in a while. As the party became out of control, police called to put an end to the festivities. Moon, over keen to avoid the boys in blue, snuck out and got into a Lincoln Continental and attempted to make a getaway. But however, his inebriated state, he released the handbrake and began rolling towards the pool. Moon simply sat back and waited as the car crashed the fence and, went into the water. There you go. On this date in history, the Beatles, on their final tour of America in 1966, performed at Shea Stadium. Unlike the previous year's performance, which sold out, there were 11,000 empty seats. The Beatles earned more than the previous year, receiving $189,000 for their performance. And I think that's it. There you go. Let's see. Born on this date in history. Rick Springfield, U.S. singer-songwriter, Jesse's Girl, born on this date. Linda Thompson, English folk singer, and collaboration with her then-husband, fellow British folk rock musician Richard Thompson, and later as a solo artist. It's Keith Moon's birthday today. Oh, well, duh. We just talked about his birthday party. Duh. Keith Moon's birthday today. And, why don't we do another Who song? Why not? We're having fun anyway. Let's go right into it. Oh, there we go. Happy birthday, Keith Moon. The Who aren't bad. There's Sydney. The Who really aren't bad. That was Who Won't Get Fooled Again, The Who. Anyway, also born on this date, well, that's about it. We'll take a quick break. Sydney Sinks joins us next right here on our daily show. We're going to talk blog talk and, I just kind of need a therapy session. It was a long week. We'll come back after this.
Dream Home Realty Center. Hey, Sherry. Talk to me, Dream Team. We've got showing.
We are Phillips 66 Wood River Refinery. We make the fuels that take us to work and our children to school. We make materials and energy products that allow us to stay connected to each other. We care about the quality and safety of our products because we care about the communities we share. Our employees live our values of safety, honor, and a commitment to act as good neighbors where we live and operate. We are Phillips 66.
You won't find a better health club than Nautilus Fitness Center. More cardio, more free weights and equipment, more classes, a swimming pool, and more. If you're serious about your health and want to make a change, then stop thinking about it and visit Nautilus Fitness Center on Industrial Drive in Alton. Don't fall for the hype you get from the other health clubs. Nautilus is the Riverbend's premier health club. Has been for years and will be for years to come. Get to Nautilus Fitness Center and get started on a healthier new you.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off Dog Walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Divs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts number 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit VillageDispo.com and shop now.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Hey, mama, don't you treat me wrong. Come and love your daddy all night long. All right now. Hey, hey. All right.
10:30.
See the girl with the diamond ring.
What the heck?
She knows how to
10:36. Oh my goodness. Huh. God dang thing's stuck here. Hold on. Sydney, how you doing over there?
I'm good. I'm sleepy. How are you, CJ?
If you aren't sleepy, I'd be a little bit concerned what you're doing in your after hours. You know,
That's
you
fair.
should be tired.
Yeah, it's busy.
You guys kicked ass yesterday.
Well, thanks. There was a lot going on, and I think, we can say confidently that our thoughts and prayers and good vibes
Well,
are with
not
everybody.
even just that, though. I
Yeah.
meant you guys had a lot of different things to cover yesterday, and with breaking news and how sensitive you were to cover that and the way you guys did, it was really nice, and you did a great job, but also just the other things that you were covering and running to. You guys did a good job yesterday.
Well, we appreciate that. We have a great team upstairs, really. It's pretty incredible, so we're thankful.
Absolutely. And now, as part of our regularly scheduled I am so ready to go back to bed. Well, Sydney, your blog started off with a picture of Sydney from 2013.
Yes, that is me, age 13. So that's me aging myself there, age 13.
Well, can I tell you, since you're doing that, keep talking.
Yeah.
I'll pull up my 13-year-old photo for you.
Okay, yeah,
There you
no,
go.
that's fair.
You were
That's
vulnerable.
fair.
I'll be too.
That's the thing. That's what I told TJ. I was vulnerable. I put this picture out there and just kind of shared what I looked like when I was 13, which is rough. I challenge everybody to do the same before you judge me. And you know what? But it's kind of fun. It's a back-to-school photo. It's kind of a fun throwback. So
Well, and what does it mean when you're typing that stuff out and you're kind of, getting kind of reminiscent over your back to school days?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they're over and done with, but they still weren't that long ago.
They weren't. That's the weird part, too. That's what we mentioned that last week, too. But, for 12 years, we were going back to school every year. And then all of a sudden now, back to school happens. But for, you and I, things don't really change that much. There are some things that come into gear and into play, and things change a little bit. But our daily is kind of the same. So it just is interesting to reminisce and remember that that's what it used to be like. And now we're are not completely starting our year over, but we are having still some new beginnings and some endings and kind of a chance to reflect and that kind of thing. So that's what I wrote about.
All right, here.
Yeah.
I found one. This is me in 7th grade.
Okay.
This is 2012.
Let's see it. Aw.
They thought I was 5.
Aw, no, that's so cute.
That's something. They aren't going to put that one on a milk carton.
Nor mine. No, we glued up. CJ, this is good news. This is a happy Friday. It's good to remember that it could be worse.
That was like one of the funniest things I've said. I thought that was good.
It was pretty good.
Not as good as my before, after, and way after at the Scotty McCreery concert.
That was funny. I just listened to that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that was very
funny.
good too.
But no, definitely we have grown up. I'm very proud of us, and you gotta respect how we've changed over the years.
What was your summer like as a kid? Because here, let me give you mine, and then let me hear yours. So, like, my dad and I always would go out. My sister and we practice soccer. It seemed like every day, maybe every other day or 3 times a week. But then we'd go. Well, this is before middle school, before middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Or kind of right in the in-between. We'd go to summer sport every day, go swimming. But then by, like, July, I got really bored and seriously wanted to go back to school.
No, that's a real thing. And I used to be so excited. And I'll say right now, this is probably a surprise to nobody, but I was a total nerd. And so I was really excited for back to school. And the pencils and the notebooks and all of that stuff got me really pumped up. But that being said, my summer was fun. It was usually my mom used to work at the Brighton Library. And so we did the summer reading program. And at first I went as a participant, and then I went as a volunteer and helped her out, which was really fun. So those are my memories of summer, just remembering, being involved in the summer reading program. And I love hearing you talk to Hainer about their summer reading program and all the cool things going on around town. Yeah,
Good
absolutely.
plug. We got a meeting next week.
Go Hainer Library.
Well, I think it's really important too when you talk about this stuff, because we have we have a unique town and region. Because in all seriousness, I mean, get over here. We have like a weird vibe, it's like a tourist place, it's a weird version of Destin, Florida.
That is an interesting point.
It's a weird take, but hear me out, folks at home too, because I know you're going, what the hell is he smoking this morning? Just hear me. Because it seems like during the summer, it's not necessarily because everyone's a partier, but just because I think maybe it's the kids are out of school and everything else. It just seems like truly we all take the summer off, like as business people, because like it seems like during the fall, that's when I'm the most busiest here. I mean, because I have sales emails and things, and it keeps me busy. But in the summer, it's kind of slowing down. The events are there and the news is there.
Busy, yeah.
But it's like nobody really is ready to put the hard hat on.
No, that's an interesting point. I think that just is summer in general. I think a lot of people are busy with vacations and that kind of thing. And I was at the county board meeting this past week, and it got done in 12 minutes. It was so fast because people were just summertime. People are done, and there's not much going on. So yeah, it's interesting. It was the fastest county board meeting I've ever been to. But what are you gonna do? It just is one of those end of summer things.
Glad our tax dollars paid for that 12 minutes.
Well, you could get into it, but we'll let it go. But it's interesting.
You're right, though. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's just, I think people go on trips and that kind of thing and stay busy. So.
Did they comp your gas?
No.
I mean, if I drive up there for 12 minutes, I want $20 to get home.
I'll let them know. I'll write a letter.
Oh, man. County board's been doing well, though.
Yeah, they've been busy. They've been doing a great job.
So, I wasn't a shot at you, just me joking on a Friday. Okay. Here's where I have a question.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Did you actually want to go back to school for school, or is it to hang out with your friends?
See, that's fair enough, and that's calling me out for not prioritizing my education as much as I should. But I did like seeing my friends. I admit that was kind of the peak of the whole thing. But I liked learning, not math so much, but I liked the English stuff and the reading and that kind of thing. I was very nerdy, so I did enjoy those things genuinely. So I didn't it wasn't that I hated going to school or anything. I actually genuinely enjoyed going and learning and hearing new things. And
right.
So, and I'm kind of a curious person. I think that's by nature of this job. I'm a nosy person, so it made me curious to learn too. So it was fun. It was a good era to be in school for a while, but it's interesting now being on the other side of it and watching everybody in the community kind of go back to school and get back into that and not be a part of it, watching on the outskirts.
Yeah.
And I guess that'll just continue until I have kids of my own who I got to take to school. So it's just interesting.
That's very fascinating to point out.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. So you have new priorities, it says.
Yes.
What are they?
Well, goodness. So basically, honestly, start of the new school year, it's a chance to think about beginnings and endings and that kind of thing, which is a good chance to think about, I think, priorities and what we were going to do going forward. So last week, I wrote about gratitude journaling and self-care and kind of taking care of yourself a little bit more. And I had this new resolution that I put into place where I said, I'm going to actually try to do these things. Now, has that been successful? That's debatable. Maybe
Jury's
not
out.
So much. Yeah.
Well, I don't know it. You define your own success. I can't define your success.
Oh, well, that's a very philosophical way
It
of
is.
looking
I'm
at
sorry.
it.
That's the way life works. I always laugh at that when someone says, "Well, man, why aren't you up there yet?"
Wow, yeah.
Well, I think I'm doing just fine. You know?
You got to compare yourself to the
Yourself.
other version of yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. So in that mindset, then, has it been successful? No, I have not been.
Call me
I have
CJ
not been.
Stuttle.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I have not been gratitude journaling or taking care of like the yoga meditation kind of thing that I wanted to do so much. But one of these days.
Can I tell you something?
No,
You're
let's
gonna
hear
laugh. I was asked to go to. Mike, I'm really sorry. Not Mike Hall, Mike Weller. I was asked to go to 5 a.m. yoga, not by Mike, by one of the Riverbend yoga folks, or one of they've been on the show
very
before.
Cool. 5 a.m. yoga.
I said yes.
Oh, good for you.
I didn't go. That's not good, Sydney.
I don't blame you. 5 a.m. that's like, it sounds like, 5 a.m. that's fine. But then like actually at 4:45 in the morning.
When
that's
I go
kind
to
of
bed.
a lot. Yeah, exactly.
But
that sounds really cool.
But I am going to go soon.
Yeah, good for
I
you.
will go soon. So, those things falling off the cliff for you?
A little bit. So I gotta reprioritize a little bit. But yeah, that's been that. But other priorities, I think it just is a good chance to kind of think about like what do you really want to focus on in life.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's a good chance to, even if like things don't like change so much for us when we're not in school or whatever, it still is a good chance to be like, here's a midway point in the year to think about
That's really interesting now that you say that, because this has been always been the case for me ever since I graduated high school. And it wasn't because, I want to preface this, it wasn't because I missed it, because I had my time in the sun and I was done. And
right.
I don't, sounds bad what I said, I don't like when people relive high school every day. I'm not one of those people.
No, I get what you
life
mean.
moves on, and so did we all, but I always get depressed around this time. You're like really down in the dumps and really like I start judging myself really hard, because I always used to kind of reflect on where I was when the seasons change.
Oh, that's a
so
good
like
point.
when summer goes into fall, I'll sit there and think about the last 90 days, what I did well, what I did crappy, and all that stuff. But then I start to get really hard on myself because, listen, I'll be honest, hell, you've heard Brian Trust and I talk about it. I had a little bit too much fun this summer, and not like it was demonstrative and I was causing problems or I was getting arrested or anything like that or harassing anybody. But it wasn't what I needed to do, or it wasn't what I wanted to do. Not necessarily needed, because, people are going, see, you got to get out. You're stressed out, go have fun. But I still didn't want to do that type of stuff. I would have much rather found a different outlet. But at this point in the year, I'm like, man, I didn't sell enough event promos, this last month. I didn't do this, man. I suck. It's like, and that's where I'm at currently in life. And it does this every year, and it's just like the worst to get out of. But I don't know if it's because my brain's going into back to school mode. I do it. I don't know.
No, that's a good. It's like a fine line, and trying to figure out the difference between like I didn't do as much as I wish that I would have, versus like I suck as a human being, because there's a difference. In those two
but
statements.
I have that problem.
No, and me too.
Because like it's not to me, failure means you suck. For me personally, not for anybody else. Because if someone asks me, goes, CJ, man, I didn't do worth a damn. I'm like, no, man, you did a great job.
Yeah.
But then for us, and I don't know if you're the same way, but I'm like, you are just absolute dog. I mean, you are just the worst. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And no, I'm the absolute same way, and it's not a good mindset. To
No,
be in.
it's very terrible.
No, and it doesn't help anything either. Because once you're in that mindset, then it's much easier to just like slack off. Not slack off.
It's slack off for sure, because you get depressed.
Well, a little bit, or also just like getting to the point where it's like, oh, well, I'm terrible anyway, so why even try to do this?
Well, and so like with the show's always booked. It's never been with the show, but I always feel like I can do more. Like, because the show's booked for 2 weeks. I don't
cool.
like
that's
we're in
cool.
cruise
Let's
control all the
that
time.
Really quick. That's a cool
no,
thing.
But because that's just second nature.
Yeah.
But it's like there's still other components that I want to add on. Like my sister and I have been trying to do a broadcasting channel so we get more people to text and all that stuff. But it's like we aren't there yet, and we have. I got sponsors to grab, and I got all this to grab, and I'm, here and here and here and here. But even though, anyone that goes, CJ, take it easy, pal. You got 2 different topics to tackle. I'm going, man, you're just terrible.
Yeah.
You know, I don't
no,
know.
I completely get it. No, I definitely understand that mindset. And there's things too that I look at and I'm like, I wish I was doing better on
Yeah,
XYZ.
right.
And I think there's benefits to like that kind of reflective, like you said, every 90 days or when the season's changing, thinking about like, I want to prioritize this going forward and I want to focus on this and that kind of thing. But we've got to do it in a way where it doesn't come down to
It's constructive.
It's constructive, and it's not like just criticizing yourself, not like in a way where you're just down on yourself like that, because that just doesn't get you anywhere, and it just makes you feel terrible.
Well, and see, I don't know how you feel about this. Now that's a good, because to me, people always go, well, CJ, you need to love yourself. Well, I do. It's just I don't love myself when I reflect and go, holy crap, you didn't do this right. You know, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I'm getting a little deep today, but it's just like, that's where I think the whole disconnect is, because it's not necessarily a love yourself thing. It's just getting past the fact that you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I think I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. Like the idea of being perfect and not even failing, but just like not meeting your expectations and that kind of thing.
Because I'm an OCD guy. I mean, I do have OCD. It's true. It really does bother me.
No, and that's completely understandable too.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that, and that feeling of like, wow, I just really wish I was doing more, doing better, doing XYZ. But I think there's definitely a point where you got to be like, look, maybe I didn't like succeed in this way as much as I wish I did. But at the same time, I'm still someone who's good and worthy of good things and that kind of thing. And it's definitely a balance. And if you figure it out, let me know.
So you haven't figured it out either.
I'm working on figuring it out.
Because I seriously can't. Like, I'll be honest. Like, hell, I've never lied on the show. Like, I'll sit there and like the last couple of weeks, like there's been times I sat down and just wanted to freaking break down and cry, because it's like, what are you doing, man? And like everything, my brain's going, but you're doing this right and you're doing this right.
Yeah.
But then the other part of my brain's going, but look at what you failed at.
Here's the thing. I think it is so easy for your brain and like everyone's brain to focus on the bad things, first of all, because that's where you learn. Is like the failures or the mistakes and that kind of thing. That is where you learn. So that's like literally physiologically what your brain focuses on. So first of all that. But I think reminding yourself that your brain can also lie to you a little bit and make things into a bigger deal than they are. So yes, like maybe there are things that I wish I had done better or could keep working on or trying harder on. But at the same time, that doesn't like discount all of the positive things and the good things that I'm doing and the successes that I'm having and that kind of thing. So I think it's that balance of just like that reality check. Like when you get into that like mindset of like, I really suck this week. It's like, okay, maybe in some ways I could try harder on these things, but at the same time, I don't suck as a person. Like there are just still things that I'm really succeeding at. But I don't know. You know, I think that's hard for everybody. I think that's relatable for a lot of people. And if anyone wants to text in and tell CJ he's doing a great job, because he is,
no,
then you can,
no,
but...
I don't like that.
Okay,
because,
don't do that.
I don't.
But,
it's because to me, I feel like we're the only ones that can define how well we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and like when people do that, you kind of just brush it off.
Yeah.
You know,
No, that's
in
true.
life, you're just like, thanks, you know, whatever. But, you know, I think it's just, I don't know. Once you figure the secret out, you tell me.
Yeah,
because
I'll let you know.
You know what's dangerous, too, is meditating in that mindset.
Oh, so true to get into that. Yeah.
So, like, because I used to meditate all the time, and we talked about this last week, but when you're down in the dumps and you can't get out of that, like, mindset, oh my God, you know, it's dangerous.
And I think that we should talk about that more. Like, everyone talks about the benefits of meditating or thinking on yourself and that stuff, too. Sometimes you got to get out of your head and just do something for yourself that's a little bit more active, too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. For people who can meditate and, like, genuinely do it and focus on just, like, sitting there and that kind of thing, then, like, shout out, because that's really cool. I haven't figured that one out yet, because I definitely am someone who, if I'm thinking about something and I'm trying to meditate, then I will just get into my head about it. So
Now, do you think a lot of it is because because you and I have said this literally every week, is that this year has been just ridiculous. And like last year, we kind of said it every once in a while because there were spurts, but this whole year,
it's been wild,
just nonstop. And I don't know if it's because you're going so fast and then you don't realize how fast you're going until it starts to slow down and everything catches up to you.
That's true.
But I don't know. I'm grabbing at straws here, but I'm just trying to tie your article into some of that, because when you get back into the back to school mode, I mean, it's no different here. You're getting back into grind time.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I don't know. I think it has just been so busy for a lot of people, and I think just a lot going on. And I think everyone I talk to agrees that this year has just flown by. I cannot believe that we are nearing the end of August. So it is kind of wild. And I think that it's easy to get really focused on what, all of the things that we need to be doing and that kind of thing. And you can forget that there are things that you've done positively.
Yeah.
So that's something. Don't text in compliments to us because that makes us both uncomfortable. But if you want to text in advice, then shout out, please. I'll take it.
Well, that's true. Well, and honestly, another thing that I wanted to tie in was, as it turns out, I've been firing myself up for a week now, trying to cram as many activities and events into every waking moment so I don't miss out on anything. Just like August promises new beginnings, it also signifies endings. I was amped, trying to figure out how to cultivate the perfect end of summer vibe, and then, CJ got me sick with a cold and spent 2 days in bed. It was me.
It was me. Not your fault. It's everybody's gotten sick these days, but not your fault. But no, yeah, I think because I'm in that mindset where not only is it like my professional life, like trying to stay busy. I don't know if you relate to this. My professional life, trying to stay busy and get things done and be successful and that kind of thing, but also then my personal life, trying to. Well, but at the same time, I get it. At the same time, trying to keep everybody in my personal life satisfied and spend time with people as needed and stay busy and successful in that way too. And it just is it's that balance and trying to do all of that. At the end of the day, it made me sick. I burned out. I was sick for a couple of days.
Right.
So, and I literally couldn't do anything. I was just in bed. So,
well, you know what? And that's another thing too, because it's not necessarily a mental burnout. It's a physical burnout, because there's times I'll get sick now 3 times a year because of the show, and not like COVID or anything, but just worn down and done. And it's not because of me carrying 800 pounds of concrete, and I'm filling holes outside. But it's the mental battle, and that does wear you out and does lead to getting sick and stuff, and it weakens your immune system.
No, it really does. That's a real thing. And your body will, I feel like listening to your body is like a benefit. And that's another thing I need to work on. But
you're talking to a guy that drinks jet fuel every day.
Yeah, well, same here. But
that's true.
No, I think, the no caffeine thing is fully gone. I'm fully back on the caffeine grind. But no, it definitely, listening to your body is something that I think is so important to do. And your body will tell you. If your mind won't tell you to take a break, your body will make you take a break. So that's something I've learned again and again and keep pushing myself to do. So we're working on it.
So what is your priority now? Because here's mine. And I'll be honest with you, because I got club soccer until November. I got so I'll be kind of tied up and busy that way. But my goal for the next couple of weeks is until December is, if I go out, it's once every 2 weeks and not once a week or not twice a weekend.
Right.
And if I do go out, it's not necessarily the number of times. It's just the responsibilities that go with that, because I was kind of letting too loose and staying out too long. It was not good. 12-hour days are pretty bad. You know what I'm saying?
That, yeah.
So it's that. But it's also, I want to be able to get a regular routine in. And I think that's where I'm struggling the most, is because I'll go to bed some nights at 3 a.m, not because I'm out partying, but because I can't sleep. And I'm just up and I'll start looking at the computer and start working on things and sending emails to celebrities that are never going to come on the show, but what do you do at 3 in the morning? So I think that's really my thing, is just getting that constant routine.
Yeah.
And but to me, I don't know about you, now that I'm on this topic, I can't do a routine for too long because it gets so damn boring.
It does. That's the problem. No, it does. And a routine is really important to me as just a person who needs the sleep and needs all this stuff.
Yeah.
I know myself. I know that I need that kind of routine and just attitude of just taking time for myself every day too. So it definitely, I don't know. I'm working on that too, and figuring out a way to prioritize, and also prioritize okay, these are my working hours, and this is the time when I am not working, and this is the time when I sleep. And so having that routine in place is definitely something I'm working on too, and kind of trying to prioritize this week.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out for me, because I'm just lost.
Likewise. You let me know, and then we'll figure it out together.
We're about out of time at 10:58, but you know where I'm going? A Village Dispensary. Where every day's special. You can roll into the week on Monday with special deals and end them with even better ones. You know what I like? You know what I like? The fact that I get 25% off Aero carts, I'm telling you, they're the cart of the future, and they're the cart of CJ Nasello. You know what? Village Dispensary, locally owned, union built, and all about quality. They're all about elevating your experience. Whether or not you smoked pot since the fruit trees went bad, or whether or not you've never used it before, they have a consultation area that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was
that
fun.
they can pull you to the side, and they can educate you so you don't feel like you're holding up the line like that grandpa at Casey's that bought $400 worth of lottery tickets, has to scan them all and won $3. You know what I'm saying? None of that at Village Dispensary. They'll have you in and out faster than a Fast Times ride, and their inventory will make Cheech and Chong jealous. Head on over to Village Dispensary, where quality meets education. You can go to villagedispo.com, place your order today, and don't forget to tell them that you know who sent you over that way, because it's a joint effort. I'm out of time. See ya tomorrow for 2 shows. I'll be at the amphitheater for the Food Truck Festival at 4 p.m. Then, following that, we're live from the Alton Marina for the 28th anniversary. Join me then, won't you? Till then, just try your best to stay out of jail.
Oh, yes, he did. He said he would.